Summertime, and it's Monday, July the 20th, 2026. I said I'd be off this week, but I just couldn't stay away. So we're still here. We're going to just do an hour, though. We're not going to try not to go over, but you guys keep calling in and joining in. I appreciate that. And I got the Frank is here. Frank, hello.
Hello, Jim.
I have to introduce the guest like a professional.
Do you?
I should. And we just talk about technology. We talk about finance. We talk about fakery. And that's just an all-in-one show. There's no other show that does it like this show. And that's why you're here. So you're going to be talking about, you're going to be talking to us. And
hopefully people will call in. But, just for the avoidance of doubt, I think that all fakeology is rooted in the primary bit of illusion is the spinning ball Earth.
Yeah, I know you say that. Now, I was just talking to Frank. I invited this guy, the News is Fake 4, on the show, but he says he doesn't do shows. And then somebody, in the comments said, "Oh, I wish you'd do the show." So maybe that was a fan of mine. So, if you want someone on the show, just tell them to come on over. We'll just do a chat and get them on the show. And this guy talks a lot about what we talk about.
Yep.
Do you know this guy? This channel, I mean?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, well, we have to always talk about a little fakeology here and there. So
what's the name of his channel?
The News is Fake 4.
The News is Fake. Okay.
Yeah. I guess this is his 4th channel. So we'll watch one of his videos and promote him because everyone should.
For what shall it profit a man?
Everyone should promote each other in this field. And he has a biblical take, so maybe Frank will understand this part.
If he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul.
Do you know that Mark 8:36?
I do.
All right, it's a good one.
I think it's a very important.
So now we're going to watch a band called Alice in Chains. I've heard of them. So let's see what he says.
Is this thing on? Yeah, we're just. Yeah, do you want a level check?
It's on. Yeah.
All right. Well, first of all, I mean, it does seem as though some of the some of the sort of slant to Alice in Chains lyrics seems to be slightly anti-religious. Like "Bleed the Freak," for instance, and stuff like that. Is there that thread actually running through your work? I mean, is there a sort of iconoclastic thread to what you do?
Thread? I love Satan. Is that any problem? Long live Satan.
I don't think, I don't know if it's really anti-religious. It's kind of just anti-establishment. Anyone who'll try and put you under their thumb and make you think a certain way, and if you don't think the way they do, then they...
All right, I didn't want to watch a video like that. I want to watch something about the News is Fake. Okay. I'm promoting the guy's channel, and I don't even have a good video to promote, so let's just find one here. How about this one?
Well, thank you so much for that. We're following some breaking news just into our newsroom. An investigation is underway following a shooting at a festival in Toledo, Ohio. These are some pictures from the scene there.
That's interesting because we had a shooting in Toronto at a festival. So it seems to be a bit of a theme. I didn't know they had one in Ohio as well.
Police say 12 people were shot and they're still searching for a suspect after the attack at the Old West End Festival. 2 of the victims were told are in critical condition. Officials say it seemed there were at least 2 people firing weapons who were, quote, probably shooting at each other. Take a listen to what other...
Exactly the script from Toronto. Interesting, huh?
Yeah.
See, when you look for patterns...
You find them.
You find them. I didn't even hear about this.
Witnesses had to say.
Bullets flying everywhere. Going crazy, man. Whole lot of pandemonium.
Pandemonium, you know what I'm saying? We told them
Just stay, everybody get back.
That's all I heard.
That's all I heard.
Once I heard everybody
get back.
and once I heard that, and all I heard, and then we ran.
Everybody get back. Everybody get back. Everybody get back. Everybody get back. Everybody get
I guess he made a song out of this phrase.
Everybody get back.
All right.
Everybody get back.
I think we get the drift. This guy says scraping the bottom of the crisis actor barrel. They really can't help themselves. Duper's delight. Why do the sheeple fall for this type of shite? Central casting, filling in the regulars. Shucking and jiving for shekels. That's another one they always like to say. Okay, there you go. So a festival shooting. Do you want to see another one of his videos?
Why not? Why not?
They're short.
Yes. And I'm sure just like the fear of all these people, your heart just stops.
Well, it does. I lived close to Columbine when it happened.
Oh.
I lived close to Columbine when it happened. So this is something that...
That girl on the right's too young to know about Columbine. Columbine was in the 90s, 98, I think. She's not even in her 20s, probably.
They're my grandkids. So, yeah, they're my grandkids. So, yeah, I put a call out to my church and to everybody I know, and I got people praying, standing at the line. I've got my hands raised, and I'm praying over this situation. I have to put it in God's hands, or I'll be a hot mess.
How old are your grandkids?
Soon to be 13 and 11.
And are they able to communicate with you?
My granddaughter has messaged me, and she said we are sheltering in place right now. I think we're safe.
Okay.
So they've got a plan, and they go through drills. I know this. They go through drills. I know this.
It's disheartening, though, to have to even go through the drills, and now you have to act it out in real life. It's disheartening, though, to have to even go through the drills, and now you have to act it out in real life. Go through the drills.
The hair
and now
says
you
hoax.
Have to act it out.
That's what it says here in the comments.
So I just told her I'm here until you're in my arms safe.
So calm, so collected, what a trooper. Meaning part of the theatrical team.
Is we love. So
that's all you can do.
Huh? What was your name? Denise Flippin.
Thank you, Denise. I hope they're okay, and that you can.
We do have that reunification address right there on the screen there. We do have that reunification address right there on the screen there, 4125 Hathaway Street.
Okay, there you go. Not bad, not bad.
Kate Emma says rapping crisis actors.
Yeah, that was the first one. We're just reviewing the News is Fakes channel. And he does a lot of stuff on YouTube and gets away
Back
with
to
it.
this breaking news, a mass shooting at Arcadia Lake. At least 10 people were rushed to the hospital, and police are still looking for the suspect.
Our crew's also there speaking with several witnesses who say they were simply enjoying themselves at this party. Next thing they know, an argument leads to a fight, then moments later, gunfire. Some of those people we spoke with injured while trying to get to safety. Some separated from their friends, others left not knowing how many people were hurt.
We just came for like a little lake day, like, you know what I'm saying? Just drink a little, just swim, just have some orientated fun between us two. Then we seen a post about the flyer, about the party, so we were like, okay, it's on the other side of the lake. So we decided to make our way to that side of the lake, and we made our way to that side of the lake, and it just went south from there. Honestly,
she's having a good time.
Like, what is the point? Like, there's no point. We were like, okay, it's on the other side of the lake, so we decided to make our way to that side of the lake, and we made our way to that side of the lake, and it just went south from there. Honestly, like, what is the point? Like, there's no point.
All right. So he's exposing the crisis actors that we like to call the crisis actors. So that's funny. Frank, anything?
Looked like a fairly cut and dried exposure there to me, where she's giggling away.
And what else do we have? Yeah, he hasn't done anything lately. Maybe some shorts. Any shorts here? I don't see. They don't put dates on these shorts that I can see.
This is all the game. Bullshit, all right? Bullshit. I know what happened to that guy. They shot that guy flying goldfish and then they killed him.
Think about it. What did you see?
I saw them kill him.
You know, what did you really see this whole time? Special effects, squibs, like in the movies. This is all the game.
That's pretty good.
We're here, brother. We're here. We can't do nothing about that. We can't do nothing. We can. Not here. You have to answer this. Not here, bro. You're not.
We're taking video right now. He was wearing an orange suit with like something on his back.
Spraying alcohol.
Spraying alcohol, but what he did was he made it look like he was here.
He's making Molotov.
Okay.
At approximately 3 o'clock this morning, HPD dispatch received a call in regards to multiple people shot. 3 individuals who had been shot were transported to a local hospital. Additionally, three other individuals were transported by private vehicle to hospitals. At approximately
33.
Take a look at the ring video we've been showing you all morning and last night too, of that plane falling out of the sky at Cottman in the Boulevard, coming from the Northeast Airport. The impact causing that massive fireball
This was the
is what it
Kentucky.
looked like and what it was really, and the devastation that followed that, just so shocking.
That reminds me, I got to get my UPS refund. They lost my package. All right, that was the UPS one. Remember that?
It was close to my my 3rd grade son in particular. He had water on his shoes from a pipe that burst from being shot. So he was within range of all of this, and hearing things in the hallways of people running down the hall screaming, "Active shooter, lock your doors!" And the principal notified everybody that this was time to do a lockdown drill, that this is not a test. The principal notified everybody that this was time to do a lockdown drill, and that this was time to do a lockdown drill, that this was time to do a lockdown drill.
Our commanders, including the fire chief and I, was in a commander's training less than 2 weeks ago, going over this exact same scenario for another fictional location.
The principal notified everybody that this was time to do a lockdown drill.
For another fictional location.
This was time to do a lockdown drill.
For another fictional location.
It was close to my my 3rd grade.
There you go.
What the family does know is they won't stop until justice is served and the guns are put down.
Throughout this state of Alabama, they got to do something. They got to definitely do something.
Ladavion Johnson.
Because if we don't, we all don't fade away. If I could just touch one person hard and stop the gun violence, it will be. It really hurts. It really hurts. You missing your child all because somebody want to shoot. Throughout this.
Okay, so that is The News is Fake. That's a pretty funny, pretty good channel, and maybe we'll get him on the show sometime.
So what's your view, Tim, about why these guys are doing this?
Why they are doing drills?
Why people are organizing this fear campaign?
Well, I think a lot of it goes back to money. I think that they want to monetize anything and everything they can in the security state. And I think these street festivals are usually wide open, and they want to do what they're doing to major sporting events, or have done. Make them, you got to go through metal detectors and hire all kinds of security and police. So I just think it's a business in one way.
Mm-hmm. No other reason. Just
it's a business. It's also to make people afraid, not enjoy life. What do you think?
Why do Why does someone not want me to enjoy life?
Make them more vulnerable and susceptible to control, I think. Make them accept what other people want them to do. Do
To what
things they
end?
don't want to do.
To what end?
Just to control people.
So it's just I've got control over you type thing. They're just doing it for
Yeah,
the
you can make society go in the direction you want it to go, not to maybe not be susceptible to the randomness that life could be like. What do you think?
Well, I agree with you. I think there is an entity trying to control us, and my view is that it's about ensuring we're separated from understanding.
Oh yeah.
The the spiritual objective here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have a biblical angle to it.
Well, it's just a logical angle. As I said, all deceptions come from the fact that people think we live on a spinning ball. If people understood that we live on I guess as I call it, a yellow submarine, we live inside a dome with waters above, waters below, and we are in the terrarium, they would realize that we have a creator, that we're created, and that would massively.
That would be proof enough that we have a creator, you're thinking?
100%. I mean, once we move away from the spinning ball idea and realize that there's waters above, waters below, and we're living in a terrarium.
Yeah.
The conclusion that we have a creator, I think it's inevitable. Do you have a different view?
I'm not sure I buy that view. It's a different view for sure. I just don't see how that really tracks, but maybe you can explain it more.
Well, the issue is that if people don't realize they have a creator, then if they've come into existence by a cosmic accident,
yeah,
then there's no morality, is there? There's no reason to pursue anything, and we're not trying to get to the next level, if you like. The whole idea is that is that we're being tested.
Okay.
For fitness for a eternal existence. Whereas, I'd say most people just so if I put it more, I think most people, when push comes to shove, find it difficult really to believe that whatever it is that's driving their bus disappears, even if they say they do think it just disappears. But we've kind of been, in my opinion, gaslighted to believe that our existence is just nothing.
Oh, it's not important. Yeah.
It's purposeless.
Yeah, no, I get you there.
Yeah. And I think it's really when when the idea that we live in a terrarium becomes apparent, that's when you start to shake the tree of existential discussion, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I guess my view is that wisdom comes from the fear of God, as the Bible says. But again, that's all of this deception. The things about the SpaceX and
the SpaceX, yeah.
and labels, and there's so much stuff that is just sending people into a spin. That they're focused on everything but their own ability to live a long, eternal, wonderful life.
While they're watching the news, you mean?
Well, not just that, but they've got no idea about how the place that they're living in, their reality is constructed, how it's come about. Nor are they taking any time to conjecture on it. And by the time, in my case, that I started to think about it, I was well 60 effectively, and I don't think my story is uncommon.
Well, you were too busy living life to
living
worry
life,
about
raising
that.
children, doing all the stuff,
Yeah.
trying to get rich, whatever that meant.
Yeah. How do you get rich? Yeah.
Yodel diddle 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 dum. So as I said, to me, everything boils down to once you work out that you're not on a spinning ball, everything starts to unravel pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm always surprised, and I keep making this claim. We should offer a chocolate frog award to someone. I'm asking anyone listening, either now or in the future, if they could provide to us an example of where they have personally used the spinning ball model for any practical purpose. Because as far as I can tell, everybody assumes the earth or the land we live on, that water will lie flat and horizontal. The surface of a large body of water will lie flat and horizontal.
Mm-hmm.
And they also assume that when their plane takes off from New York to go to Toronto, that Toronto is going to stay in the same place.
All right. Did you have any other comments tonight? Any other ideas for tonight's show?
Well, that's really just my idea. I'd love to get some conversation going on this topic more, because it has been as I said, to me, it is the core of all the deception, including this fake news, about SpaceX and Buzz Aldrin. And how much of our life does all this take up? I mean, I don't know about you, but it must take up. It used to take up hundreds of hours of my week.
Yes.
Just non-stop nonsense that I was blithering on about for most of my life. And it was worse for me because I studied all these things at university. I studied nuclear physics and Newtonian celestial mechanics and all of that stuff. And my job after that was to go and be I didn't do it, but the only path forward for me was to go into the teaching system and teach everyone else the same nonsense. So I was just going to become part of the deception. And then Marcus Allen and yourself came along, where you focus on highlighting to me that there's so many deceptions in the world. And none of it's true. Nuclear weapons that we've talked about, they used to just have me terrified. I couldn't sleep at night.
Oh, really? Yeah. Yeah, nothing to see there.
And by the way, most people don't, they say, oh, they believe in nuclear weapons, but it doesn't affect people's sleep. In my case, it really did. I was terrified of it.
Tommy Rogers went down to Salsa on St. Clair 4 times. He lives around there, and he said there are 0 signs of any shooting. No blood or no nothing. And Kate Emma says business to keep everyone in fear makes you less likely to fight back. Question, critical thinking suppressed. And if the mind is unhealthy, so is the body. Great business model for the pharma industry. Yeah, I would say stress kills. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. If I get ill, it's because I've been fretting over something.
Here's some dramatic videos of an attack on a building in Moscow, presumably by the Ukrainian drones.
Oh, we haven't talked about Zelensky resigning either, have we?
I didn't know he resigned.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's resigned.
Okay. These are really bad photos in terms of clarity. Where's the dramatic video? There's suicide drones. Wow. Why don't they just call them kamikaze? Would that be not
How can it be a suicide drone? What does a suicide is?
Needs a person.
Oh, sorry. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has not resigned. He remains in office, but has previously stated that he will step down and order new presidential elections once the war with Russia concludes.
Yeah, which Oceania will always be at war with East Asia or whatever, Asiana. So that's not happening.
So we're defending a non-democracy. How great.
And Putin lives on and doesn't age.
One of my favorites was when someone thought that his role was being played by Prince William, the Prince of England.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense, but
It was good. I enjoy it though.
Look at these horrible videos. Just there's really nothing to see. They really put zero effort into creating these videos. I don't even see the video. It says dramatic video, but there's no video unless I'm not pressing the right button. Where's the vids? I see pictures, but no vids. So this is the crap we got to put up with. We'll send this to Fake Nukes Phil.
He just hasn't aged at all, has he?
No. But they don't show him all that often in the media, as far as I know.
I want to know how I got the idea that Zelensky resigned. I saw it.
Yeah.
12th of July 25. Zelensky announced her resignation.
Okay.
Hang on.
Now
People
it's
ask who is the new Ukraine president? Volodymyr. Okay. I've just got completely derailed then here. There you go. So how long has Zelensky been president?
Oh, before the so-called war, for sure, no?
Hold time.
May 2019.
Well, just before COVID. Caller in, or where are you calling from? What's your name?
I'm calling from the South Shore of the St. Lawrence Seaway. This is John the Beggar.
John the Beggar, hello.
A very clear phone line today, John. Just a bit echoey, that's all, but clear.
It's a bit echoey.
Yeah, it's okay. It still needs improvement.
It's just like you're in in the bathroom or something.
Yeah.
No, the bathroom's 6 feet over.
All right. What do you got for us?
A lot of these channels, like the news is fake, they got taken down during COVID. They were always under attack. I wonder if these are going to come under attack again. But there were tons of little channels like that, questioning all sorts of things. So it's good news to see them back. Very good news. Also, a friend of mine who took at least 4 of those COVID shots is now dying.
Oh, yeah, you've told us about your friend.
No, this is a different one, a new one today.
Oh, a new one. Whoa, I'm sorry to hear that. How old is he? Is he very old?
He's 72.
Oh, dear. Just when he starts to cost Social Security money.
Yep. But
Well, it's interesting that I've just updated the figures today for Victoria, and the number of people dying in any 12-month period seems to have leveled off.
Okay.
At just under 47,000.
Okay, that's good news.
But it's still, as I said, it's still at 7,000 higher than it used to be.
Yeah,
per year.
There's a lot of people, I think, dying, and I see them in the obituaries. They're under 70. Some of them under 60, and the numbers are increasing. And I just see that when I look at the obits, like I said, and it's terrible. And I think they're pushing a lot of this under the rug because I think people are still in denial that that's what's killing them.
Well, I mean, I think there may be a nocebo effect too. So I guess I don't really want to push it either. I don't say anything to my children about it, for example, but I think you can talk yourself into illness as well.
I think so too.
Oh yeah, you can scare yourself. That's another thing what these things are done to terrify people. They saw how good it worked during COVID, and people may say, well, COVID's false, but now they got this stuff going, and this is real. This is real. And it's not. Society and life are really rather peaceful. And in the U.S., when I was a young man, 40 years ago, let's say, 30,000 murders a year.
Yes.
Now there's 15,000. And the population is almost 90,000 more people, 90 million more people. So
now that's a dramatic statistic, isn't it?
Yes, because of the population getting old. And that's another thing. So many places, everywhere I go by has a sign, help wanted. And the repair shops have it. They're just chronically understaffed.
In Australia, there's been stories about, the local butcher shop in the smaller towns closing down because they just are no butcher's apprentices to be found.
Yeah, I know here in the States, all the shoemaker shops pretty well closed. In fact, I found a guy, and I wanted to be apprentice at that, and he said, son, there's no money in this. Everything's coming from abroad, and you just buy a new pair of shoes. I won't do this. And I was into my 30s when I asked him for this, but almost all the shoemaker shops are gone. There used to be dozens in every town.
Yeah.
Is that the same in Australia?
There is a local shoemaker near me. I shouldn't say a shoemaker. He's a repairer. But he is. I don't think he's able to sell his business. He's been wanting to sell and retire, but he has been unsuccessful. Yeah,
there's just nobody there to take over. And I went to see a friend of mine who's in the rehab center still, and the place was so short-staffed. We went over to another building in the complex. They have assisted living and then just retirement living, and a restaurant called the Bistro, and they're chronically understaffed. Everywhere is. And I can only see this going to get worse. And as I said to him and other people, they're going to start asking for old people to come back, like they do in Taiwan. Let you work 4 hours a day, 4 or 5 days a week. And if you're kind of older in 70s or 80s, just 2 hours a day, 4 or 5 days a week, because there just aren't enough people to do the work.
And I have just read a story of a woman who retired from the police force. And now at the age of 67, she's going back into the police force here in Victoria to help them out with it. Well, she's doing it because the Victorian police can't recruit enough police. And so what they're doing is they're bringing in, they're offering retired policemen roles in the kind of backroom end, in the back end of the.
Not out on the street. You put the young men out on the street.
Put the young people out in the street and have the older people doing all the the bookwork that ties them down. So of course, what that's going to do is make sure that the young people don't get the training they need to do the bookwork. So at some point, the whole system's going to just crash.
Yeah, it's going to get real top heavy. You're going to have a lot of deaths, and everyone is just going to be sitting there scratching their head on what to do.
I think they already know. I think they know what to do. I think that's what the immigration's all about. I've always said that this is a business. Then it's a human farm. They're not stupid.
Yeah,
they are not stupid whatsoever. So
they're not, but some of the local and some of their front men, I think, are a little stupid.
No, well, maybe.
You get some of them that just don't realize things are they're getting terrible. They really are.
Okay. Well, they're not. I where you are, I know you got our smoke from our fires, and you got your president, the Trump, all worked up.
Well, too, I was smelling oil and plastic in those fires, in addition to wood smoke.
Okay.
And I know about half the people did also. And I always wonder, too, when something like this happens, do some ne'er-do-wells set tires or other stuff on fire and then try to blame it on the fires? That could be one thing, or it could even be our rulers of both your country and ours, who are evil as ever, getting rid of toxic waste this way, just burning it.
Yeah,
And I don't rule that out.
well, your president just put a 50% tariff on a bunch of things tonight. That's tonight's nonsense. So here we go again.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, he's just. It's the art of the deal. Come on, it's the art of the deal. That's how he says.
And John the Beggar, what do you think of the idea that
he hasn't kept that out?
What do you think of the idea that President Trump's made a gazillion dollars from the cryptocurrencies he's been promoting? Do you think that story's likely to be true?
His masters may have made the money. He's just an actor. He actually controls things. He probably gets a little cut.
Yeah.
But he is not the same guy that started as Trump. Neither is Putin the same guy that started as Putin.
Yeah, I don't see the Trump one. I know you're insistent on it. I don't see it, but you're
look at the early pictures of him and his nose. It's different. This would be a massive nose job would have to have been done on it.
Noses do. Sorry, I do know that noses change a lot over from your 30s and 40s onwards. In my case, it's been a big change in the size of my nose.
I would still suggest that you look at those pictures. It's not the same guy.
Yeah.
It's just a character actor they bring out.
Okay.
It would be interesting to be in Russia and see what they see about Putin.
It would be.
Because where do we get our images from about him and so on? It's not.
I never see him unless we look him up. Yeah. Well, what are they seeing? That's a great point.
Yeah.
A really good point, Frank. Good point.
And stories of Bibi Netanyahu's not around anymore is also another. I mean, there's just so much stuff going on. People are just being overloaded, aren't they? Whoa, shut down. Let's shut down.
Frank, you sound under the weather today.
I'm not actually under the weather, but I've been complaining to you about the chest thing for a long time now. I reckon I've had it for 3 months.
Okay. Yeah, you're not doing too great.
And I feel fine, by the way.
Okay, good. We're all worried about you.
It's just giving me that robotic voice.
Mhm.
Exterminate, exterminate.
I'd see a doctor about that if I were you, Frank.
Well, I sort of had it under control. And yesterday, it just bounced back.
It won't hurt to have it take a look. I have a little bump on my knee and soreness, and I went to one of those get well quick clinics just to have them look at it. And they said it's just a strain. We could take a X-ray if you want to. And I said, no, I don't need the radiation. And I'm back here and it's fine. So, what will it hurt to have them just take a look?
Well, as I said, I just think it's a just lack of sunlight, really.
Okay.
It's winter. It is winter.
Okay. Well, yeah, you still have more sun than we can dream of.
Absolutely. In Queensland.
That's right.
You're not that far from the equator, are you?
I'm in the south, but still not that far from the equator. I think we're at 37 degrees south, and I've just been down to 44 degrees south at Queenstown in New Zealand. But it is very interesting to me that where we are in the northern hemisphere is very hot, whereas it's quite cold here today. Even in winter, the same latitude in the north, on the northern side of the globe, is very, very warm compared to us.
Okay. Anything else, John the Beggar?
No, that's about it, guys. I just wanted to talk about that fake. The news is fake, and I'm going to have to start looking these up because there were so many of them, and they all got knocked off. And maybe some of them will even come back.
Now, Kate Emma was talking about the population birth rate in Australia falling. Australia is one of the few places where the birth rate, or the number of people born each year, is higher than the number of people dying by about 100,000, I think it is.
Yeah, you've said that. Also, Ryler says the real Donald Trump died in 1989 in a helicopter crash. I must have missed that.
That's interesting. Please provide some citations.
I think in his first term, the original one came back to do the State of the Union speech, the first one.
Yeah.
And he hasn't been back yet, so I think he is probably retired.
All right. John and others, just want to show you tonight's show notes, FAK1303. If you want to listen to the show live in your favorite player, like VLC or Podcast Addict, I just put the link to it. This link is hard to find. I had to re-find it, but it's right here. https://USA6.fastcast4u.com /tunein/fakeologist2.pls. It's a little hard to find, but you can also play it at shortfake.com/stream1. But if you want it to go in your player, which is what I like, that's what you need.
I think it's great that you're back on YouTube because I'm looking at you right now through YouTube.
Yeah.
And I just think it's amazing they haven't knocked you off.
Yeah, I guess I haven't done anything that interesting. Yeah, it is interesting. I know everyone's on YouTube now.
Well, I've just done an AI search of Donald Trump and helicopter crashes, and it says the AI overview is that Donald Trump has not been directly involved in a helicopter crash. However, he has made 2 notable claims regarding near-death helicopter incidents. And a 1989 Trump Organization crash led to long-standing rumors about whether he was scheduled to be on board. It doesn't really tell us that he wasn't. If he was scheduled to be on board, and maybe, I guess there is some meat in the claim, I guess, by Ryla06.
I'd also like to read a comment if I could.
Permission granted.
Permission granted.
Jimmy says, and this is of our show 8 days ago. This is our audio chat show. Often our audio chat is more interesting than the main show. So make sure you subscribe to both feeds, the audio chat and the main show. Just search Fakeologist in your favorite podcast player or come to my website, fakeologist.blog. Jimmy says, I'm providing an update. And by the way, I don't endorse any one comment one way or the other. I'm just reading it. And here we go. I'm providing an update on the purpose of the USA wars. It's known that it's for demolition and relocation, but a far bigger reason is expansion of water production in the destroyed target countries immediately after war end. I present my evidence, country after major conflict. Overall water infrastructure trends, South Korea, 1953 onward, massive expansion of dams, reservoirs, treatment plants, and municipal water systems. Vietnam after 1975, large expansion of irrigation, reservoirs, hydropower, and urban water supply. Iraq after 2011, significant rehabilitation and localized expansion, but national water security remains under pressure. And why is the USA at war, quote unquote, with Iran right now? Current status, Iran has one of the most severe groundwater depletion problems globally. So Frank won't like that word, globally. So why is the petrodollar king military obsessed with water if all wars are oil wars? That's an interesting historical connection. Jan Battista van Helmont did indeed propose a remarkable water-centered view of nature, but it differed substantially from modern geology. Van Helmont is famous for the willow tree experiment. He planted a willow in a measured quantity of soil, watered it for several years, and observed that the tree gained a great deal of mass while the soil lost very little. He concluded that the new plant material had been formed primarily from water. Okay. And profit. Why is the USA currently obsessed with Latin America? 4. Guarani aquifer system location, mainly beneath Brazil, Argentina, Paraguay, Uruguay. Importance. The Guarani is one of the world's largest known freshwater aquifer systems. Strategic importance. The Guarani is often viewed as one of the world's major remaining groundwater reserves with substantial long-term value. What do you think of that?
I think it's very plausible.
And
because if I might add that the wealthiest countries in the world are the ones with the greatest water.
Well, that would be us. We got the best water here.
Yeah, North America's mightily blessed.
Great Lakes. They're not called great for nothing.
The other place which has enjoyed tremendous economic success is Japan, which also has water everywhere. Anywhere you go in Japan, it's a paradise. And it was something that I noticed very early on in my life living in Australia, where we are water depleted. And as a mining engineer, any operation that we tried to start, water was our biggest challenge. And in fact, the large iron ore mine that I was last involved with, we had to put in a very large desalination plant for the operations.
Ryler.
To bring water in, or was that the water in the ground? Was that salt?
No, that was to take the mining operation was not near the north coast of Australia, on the northwest coast of Australia, and the desalination plant was set up on the coast and took water in to desalinate.
Well, I know they're building a big one in San Diego.
Yeah,
California.
Okay, that's a good idea because they need water because the almonds are taking up all the water, and only a couple owns most of the almond farms in California and made a water deal. That I meant to watch that movie I don't think I could find it though.
And apparently Nestle has some big deal in Canada where they have a big chunk of water.
That's on Lake Michigan.
Is it?
Yeah, that was a Nestle thing. The Nestle plant where I picked up for a couple times in near Toronto, they just get their water from the municipal system west of Toronto and put it in bottles. So the whole idea that we're running out of water, it doesn't work for me because I live on one of the greatest lakes. I don't think there's any way you could deplete that water aquifer plus the lake. It's the volume of water in the Great Lakes is astronomical. The population of the world would have to be 10 trillion before it made a dent. So I just not.
And in keeping with what I was talking about before, that part of the world is tremendously wealthy. It must have been one of the most industrious and productive parts of the world for all time, wouldn't it? The Great Lakes area.
Mm-hmm.
It's a natural way, the St. Lawrence Seaway. You can get things in and out of there, and you always do your manufacturing near water.
Yeah. It's a tremendous resource.
And coincidentally, he's talking about Uruguay. I see on Twitter, Uruguay is the best Plan B residency on Earth right now. I actually interviewed a guy in Uruguay. Remember that? He was in, what's the capital of Uruguay?
Montevideo.
Yes, he was in Montevideo. Or actually, he was in another big city there. There's two of them. And it's one of the safest countries in Latin America. Kids walk to school, families out at night, low crime. 400 plus miles of Atlantic coastline. Punta del Este is South America's Monaco, plus hundreds of quiet beach towns nearby. 30 years of stable, non-corrupt government. Well, there's no such thing.
There's only about 6 million people there, too.
It's a Switzerland of South America. Multi-currency international banking.
It does sound great to me, I must say.
First world healthcare.
I'm on my way.
Residency is permanent from day one. No temporary residency stage, no renewals.
Wow. It sounds like I found what I'm looking for.
All right. If you want, I'll put a link to that. Jack's World. He has a company that handles 100 plus residencies a year.
Wow.
If you want to go? I often wonder about everyone and everything in South America because you just don't hear about it in our parts of the world. Do you ever hear about South America in Detroit, John?
Yeah, I've known people who lived in Brazil and Argentina, especially during the time of the 3,000 to 5,000% inflation.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
Sometimes because of residency requirements, they'd have to skip over the border into Uruguay for a few days and then come back.
Okay. Why wouldn't they just stay in Uruguay, I wonder?
Because the jobs they were doing were in those other countries.
Okay, that makes sense.
A couple of them were professional athletes.
All right. Any fakery in the World Cup, Frank?
Oh, unfortunately, I'm too cynical to ask about that, Tim. I can't imagine that it was just a uninterfered with, completely okay competition.
Okay. By the way, Uruguay is right across the bay inlet from
Flat River.
Buenos Aires.
From Buenos Aires.
Yeah.
Is that where the River Plate is?
Protestant state in South America. The British took over there for a while, and 40% of the people are mostly Episcopal or Methodist Episcopal. It was an area from the Catholic country you could go to.
Yeah.
You could get divorced and remarried because by treaty they have to acknowledge divorces and marriages.
Okay.
So they couldn't in these places, and you could also get abortions there.
Yeah. It's the Rio Parana de la Palmas. Piranhas and piranhas, the fish. So there you go. Yeah. That's Uruguay if you want to go.
I'm just completely direct.
It's cut out of the bottom of Brasilia. And actually, the FAK1303 administrator, I think, is in Porto Alegre. I think he told us that in Brazil, just up the coast. So there you go. That's interesting. And then there's
also the most European country in South America. I think it's 88% of the people are basically pure European.
What's a pure European?
Meaning they have no other blood in them. They don't have
Caucasian
or
Caucasian
or Indian or anything like that.
I don't buy that. What didn't the Turkish Ottoman Empire was the big chunk of Europe.
But most of the people who came to Uruguay came from Western Europe.
All right.
You did have a few Poles come there because I know years ago they had some soccer players on there that had Polish last names and Slavic ones. They had been, descendants of people who immigrated there.
All right.
You are a wealth of information.
You
today.
got a lot in there, John the Beggar. Thanks a lot. We got to get you to fix your studio, though.
Okay, guys. Well, with that, I will say good night to Frank and to you, fakeologist.
Thank
Good
you for
night,
calling in.
John the Beggar. There he goes, John the Beggar on the South Shore.
Who did have his own show for a short time?
Well, yeah, when you didn't show up once, I think.
I thought he was going to get a regular spot, I must say.
Yeah.
You've got to do something about your microphone, though, obviously.
Oh, yeah, we can't have that. No. Can't have that. Well, I don't know. Do you got anything else, Frank? Because we can wrap it up if we're kind of low energy tonight. I'm low energy, at least.
No, I've got nothing more, Tim. It's great to be able to put forward the view that the
Earth.
the base of all fakery is the flat Earth, is the spinning ball.
Thank you. And how to take care of your penis.com. That's your website.
Which basically says the same thing.
Yeah, the model. We talked about salt. I did send you something about fake salt.
And what did you think of my response to that?
That was reasonable. What did you say again? Because I went on.
I simply said that, I agree with practically everything that's here.
Yeah.
But there were just a few things that I didn't think he had right, but that's okay. It's a reasonable view. It's good to see that there are people rebelling against the anti-salt.
Well, no, they were just saying most salt is full of things that may not be good for you. Most of the Himalayan salt comes out of one place in Pakistan as well. This series is also talking about a lot of profit maximization and dilution of foods, specifically meat, like bacon and butter, and how it's all legal in Canada.
And we have a similar show here where there's a guy that puts up videos about food here, and in the same manner, the injection of water and so on.
Right. So you're just paying for water. It just increases the weight. And in the end, if you just buy air chilled meats or chicken in this case, you get about the same amount of meat in the end after evaporation. So it's just a shell game to sucker people into the low priced food. It's the same food though, basically. So I thought that was pretty good. Especially bacon. If you ever cook bacon up here, if you buy the cheap bacon, once you cook it, it's almost all gone to evaporation.
I must admit, I've for biblical reasons, I am starting to move away from bacon,
Mm-hmm.
and largely because it's the logic is that pigs are have only one stomach, and so what they eat tends to end up in the flesh, whereas with ruminants, they have four stomachs that essentially prevent nasty stuff getting into the flesh.
Yeah. Well, I think beef is at the top of the food chain. That's why it's so expensive. Yeah, I'm getting more and more attuned to that idea. It does make sense to me. The chicken is at the bottom of the meat food chain, actually. Now, one other thing I watched today, Uncle Odd. I think he has a paid show with the Health Ranger, Mike Adams.
He's been doing that for quite some time, though, I think.
I didn't realize he paid to be, because I don't know.
He pays Mike Adams to be there, does he?
To host it, I think. I'm not sure.
Oh, wow.
Because Uncle Odd has a new business.
Yes, he is putting forward a way of protecting your wealth.
Yeah.
Through a particular thing based out of California. Yeah.
Okay, but I couldn't quite understand because they were talking to Jim Lee, the contrail guy, and it wasn't an okay show. I don't, because Uncle Odd is a big chemtrail guy, and I'm not sure if they believed Jim Lee's thesis that it's just airplane pollution gathering in certain areas of the world and not dissipating quickly and then precipitating slowly down. But later when they did their wrap-up show, they interview the guest for an hour and do a half-hour wrap-up show. And I got the idea that Uncle Odd pays Mike Adams to be on his network, I think.
Wow.
I could be wrong. That's what I thought I heard. But he won't come back on our show just to catch up.
Well, it was actually it was actually Joel that
yes,
slammed into him, I think.
Yeah, it was just a bad timing event where they both collided at the same time.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Cat, I'm a Spellbreaker 3333 says Mike Adams, I don't trust him. Yeah, he's a little Not sure I'm a big fan of his show either. I agree with you there. But yeah, we did quite a few shows with Uncle Odd. And Uncle Odd got Jim Lee on the show. He's pretty good at corralling people. So there's that.
Yeah. Well, it'd be great to have Uncle Odd back, really. I mean, I think he's got a great point of view.
Yeah. Well, he liked our show because we revealed all these fake things. I think we did him a solid for a long time, and then he got us into Epic Coin, and that went nowhere. But it did serve a purpose for me. It got me interested in finance, real finance, not the BS shit coins.
Yep.
But it did show me the value of Bitcoin. I still think it's a store of value. Not that I would recommend it, but it is definitely a real thing, I think. Surveillance coin or not.
Well, one of the topics, just before you disappear, on finance, which is, of course, the huge insurmountable debt of the US government.
It's surmountable.
Well, that's Steve Keen puts out some very interesting discussions on it, where he's essentially saying that because of double accounting, the idea that government has debt makes no, it's all not just a load of nonsense.
Well, yeah, I tend to agree.
So it might be worth people.
We owe it to ourselves.
Yeah, I think what I might do is just provide a link to his discussion on this. I mean, people may be interested. He's touting effectively for you to join his study group. But I think the idea that these things are, we've talked about it before. How can the government be in debt? Really, it's the creator of the money. Here we go.
This is the shot that I got.
So this is Trump's new Fed shares plans to raise $39 trillion in debt. Will it work? So actually, what I might do is just put a link to the video. So the latest one is the one that has the discussion. I think it's very worthwhile people doing their best to understand what money is and how it comes into place, and pay a bit of attention, because there is a lot of just nonsense brought out all the time, which you're aware. I mean, you're well aware of it, Tim. I mean, I don't think I'm certainly not accusing you of not paying attention to it. I think you do.
Okay.
Did you get that link in the private chat?
Okay, let me look at that. I was just looking at the tetanus shot that I unfortunately got in 2020 that almost killed me. And this guy has a quick video.
With tetanus and significantly reduce mortality in adults.
Let me just play this.
If you step on a rusty nail, you should have had a tetanus shot, right? Well, that's what we've been told. The tetanus shot changed everything for me. It was the last toxin I ever had injected in my body, and it made me so incredibly sick that it forced me to look into what was actually in it. Believe it or not, tetanus vaccines are usually made from rotting organs.
That's exactly what happened to me, by the way.
Wow.
I've never felt that bad in my life. And it took a couple of weeks to kick in. It was the craziest feeling ever. Which is why I've never done drugs, because I never wanted to have one of these out of control illness feelings. And this tetanus shot, it was the worst.
Yeah.
The worst drug I've ever done. So it's interesting it happened to him too.
Worth knowing if you're vegan or vegetarian. They use cow heart and boil it in water to create an environment for Clostridium tetani, the bacteria that produces the tetanus toxin, to grow. They then neutralize the toxin with formaldehyde and mix it with aluminum adjuvants. No wonder it made me feel like death. Another thing that people should know is that tetanus doesn't even come from rust at all. It actually comes from a bacteria that lives in horse or cow manure and sometimes soil or dust. So unless you're working on a farm or walking barefoot through manure, your risk of tetanus is extremely low. And if you have a milk allergy, the tetanus vaccine contains casein and can cause fatal anaphylaxis, yet most people are never warned about this. Getting the booster every 10 years is also another vaccine schedule joke, as studies have shown that there's no difference in protection between people who get the booster every 10 years versus those who receive it every 30. But here's the wildest part. Even if you're one of the less than 30 cases in the US each year and you actually get exposed through a deep oxygen-deprived wound, an additional shot, which is the protocol, wouldn't even help you because it takes 2 to 7 weeks to build antibodies after the shot. If you're already infected, it's too late. Instead, just take 1 gram of vitamin C, preferably from a whole food source, for 5 to 7 days. In a clinical study, this approach resulted in 100% survival in children with tetanus and significantly reduced mortality in adults. We don't need more vaccines. We need more truth, man.
Yeah, amen to that.
Amen. We need more truth. It's interesting that even Jesus talks about this. There's a complaint from the the Pharisees or whatever they are, that Jesus allowed his disciples to eat without washing their hands. And Jesus says this, you're not going to get any harm from what you put into your mouth. It's what comes out of your mouth that harms you.
Mm-hmm.
So the Bible is very clear that germ theory is nonsense.
Okay, this is a PDP interview.
The United States government spends roughly $2 trillion per year more than it takes in. When the United States government spends more money than it collects in taxes, which it does, it borrows the difference. And it does this by selling IOUs called treasury bonds.
This is the typical way that conventional thinkers talk about government bonds, because they say that the government has a level of spending which exceeds its taxation, just like a household that spends more than it earns. It has to borrow the difference to be able to continue spending, has to pay interest on that, and if you keep on doing that indefinitely, you will have a collapse.
We're taking a loan for a loan for a loan for a loan for a loan. I mean, when does it ever end? Taxpayer who's pissed off and saying, let me get this straight. You can constantly bail yourself out and you can constantly go print money with this quantitative easing. Why the hell do I have to pay taxes?
Simple reason, there's a few differences between households and the government. For example, if you can print your own money and you're a household, you're a forger. You're going to end up in jail. Okay? The government, of course, can create its own money. So you have to say, well, what does that make a difference? And you cannot work it out by flow charts like this. The flow charts can state the mathematical detail that, yes, if you spend more than you take back.
Is he an Australian guy, Frank?
He is an Australian guy, but I have to tell you, in 20 years ago, he was saying that houses in Sydney are overpriced, and he sold his house and waited for the collapse of the housing market.
It never came.
Of course, it's gone up tenfold.
Is that when he woke up, or is he? You're just saying he's a bad economist?
I'm just saying that he's one of these people who's got a very definite opinion,
and he's wrong,
and he didn't quite get this one right. Now, however, on this particular idea, what he's explaining, that the bonds have a secondary market and a primary market.
Mm-hmm.
It is worth listening to, and but as I said, it's interesting that how his commitment to his own truth caused him such an enormous cost. If he'd kept his house in Sydney, and sold it now, he'd get 10 times what he sold his house for way back when. I don't know where he is now. I don't think he's living in Australia at the moment. I think he is.
I was gonna ask you another question. It just occurred to me. Excuse me. Because I was listening back to some of the old Fakeologist audio chats that were on the live stream, because I was testing the live stream. I think I got it fixed, by the way.
Yeah.
I think I got the audio working again. So it shouldn't be. Hopefully it won't buzz or clip. I can't guarantee it, but that is the prayer. But when I was listening back to the live stream at shortfake.com/stream2, it was the show with you and Rick, and then that's when Rick left the server. Rick is a big Discord guy. Was on this server here. Actually, this shows you the show title right here. You press play.
To the moon, if there was a place to go.
I don't know if it was that show, but we have so many shows. They're all on here, so make sure you check it out. It's all free. But Rick, I think, was alluding to the idea that Fakeologist is a cult. So I was going to ask you, if you agreed with that statement, are we a cult here? Because I don't want to be in a cult. I don't want to be in any cult that will let me as a member in too, or the leader of.
Well,
do we have cult-like thinking? What does the audience think? What do you think, Frank?
So my view is that I haven't really found that you necessarily press your views on other people.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have changed your attitude towards discussions about things like what is it, chemtrails and so on. You don't agree with it, but you're now allowing discussion about it and actively pursuing that, which is great. You're pursuing topics which people are interested in.
Mm-hmm.
You were, I guess I would describe you as not being very sympathetic to a spiritual view of fakery, which I think you are. I don't know whether you're sympathetic to it or not, but you don't prevent people from discussing it.
Okay.
So I think that, for example, I would be one of very few people that have the view that we live in a biblical earth, but I'm here and people do watch the videos and the comments are reasonably kind. There are many of the listeners that don't hold that view, but still agree that things are fake. And so on. What are cult-like behaviors where people who have diverging views are essentially dismissed from the scene, really.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people come and go at their own, really on their own reaction. We all have it. If people don't want to stay at the site, they go. And it's a, as I said, what's the model of a cult? I think there is a fairly clear model about it, and I don't think.
So we're not in a cult.
Well, that's just my view.
Yeah, well, it's
based on the definition of what a cult is. I don't. You don't agree. I'm sure there's many things you don't agree with me on, but you.
Yeah, there's many.
You're fine about it. You're really encouraging people to ring in, and you say you don't agree.
That's right.
I think it's, as I said, I have nothing but praise for your effort. I don't know how you do it, Tim. I just don't know how you do it.
I don't either. I just give up. I just give up everything for it, I guess. Too much. It does take a lot of time, though. But I appreciate your appreciation. Let's put it that way. I'm grateful for your appreciation and everyone else that appreciates and goes to fakeologist.com/donate to show their appreciation and exchange value. We should have way more contributors at this point. I know everyone is always in economic distress at all times, but if you can send one Satoshi. Did you get the Satoshi system working on your end? I think I
don't think I've even tried. I did get the only thing I got going was the one that Heroes was.
I'd really like you to try as a guinea pig if you could.
Okay.
If you could go to walletofsatoshi.com, and I'm pretty sure you can get it in Australia, and just put a couple of bucks in
and see what happens,
and send me a Satoshi.
Okay.
And if one Satoshi is not even one red American cent. So,
isn't that interesting?
Well, it's 1/100 millionth of a Bitcoin. And I don't think that's 1 cent American. So if everyone could try that, I think it's a great method of exchange.
So what is the address again, please?
Okay, if you go to fakeologist.com/donate, let's see if it says it here.
No, didn't you tell me to download a wallet first?
Yeah. If I just take a look at the screen, I'm trying to make it easy for people. Fakeologist.com/donate. Go to Satoshis. It explains what a Satoshi is. That's right here, so you can understand what that is. And we'll go back and click on Wallet of Satoshi. And it brings you to their website. It's very simple. Do you see that website?
I'm sorry. I've just got onto the
fakeologist.com/donate.
donate. Yep, just there on that page.
You see Wallet of Satoshi.
Okay, I've just got Satoshis. Okay,
And
please
why am
grab
I-
this
Yeah.
Wallet of Satoshi. Okay, yep.
And why am I trying to get people off the existing platforms? Is because they take a fee. Visa, MasterCard, Stripe, they all take a fee for nothing. And they cost all of us hundreds of millions of dollars for their transaction fees. This is what banks are.
Yeah.
This is a more decentralized, it's almost frictionless. So I'm really trying to get people to understand that when you send people money, you're sending the bank a decent percent for just facilitating it. And it's ridiculous.
Well, as I was in New Zealand, I foolishly used a MasterCard to the transactions, and every transaction had an international fee associated with it.
Yeah, well, the MasterCard has their own exchange rate that they
and their own
set.
exchange rate. Yeah, and
mhm.
Whereas my wife has set up a Wise card.
Yeah, I would have told you about the Wise card, but they take.
Well, I knew about it, but I just didn't.
You just didn't bother.
Yeah,
but it is worth the Wise card is worth it. But they also have a spread.
Yeah,
it's just not as big as the credit cards, but they have a lesser spread. But if you want to help the fakeologist, because I actually buy my fruit with Satoshis, because I convinced.
I heard you say that yesterday in there.
Yeah, and he shaves, rightfully so, money off the total because I would give him a Visa card otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
So he shaves money off the price.
And why don't you just give him cash? I often pay for things with cash.
Well, because I just don't carry cash, and I could give him cash. Of course, I could do that. I'm just trying
to. That's been effectively my way of not paying.
But it forces him into a currency that should go up in value, where the Canadian dollar is guaranteed to go down. Guaranteed. Yeah. So he's got Bitcoin. Unless he spends them, he's storing them like I do. So there's that. So that's one reason. So I just thought I would point that out.
Okay. Well, I'm there. Unfortunately, I need to do it on my phone by the look of it, not on my desktop. So
yeah, you got to do it on your phone, I believe.
Yep.
So thanks everyone for joining. I noticed that the FAK02 is acting up, and then so we'll just have to try and update tonight's show later on, and I'll see everyone tomorrow. Tuesday is IPS's show, the IPS show. I don't know what he's up to, but we'll catch up tomorrow. Frank,
thank you once again for the opportunity, Tim.
You're welcome, Frank, and have a good night.
Au revoir, everyone.